Hey everybody, welcome once again. It is Mrs. Clemens and this is Psychology Flipped. And because we say it every time, because we can't help ourselves, keep calm, study psychology. Alright guys, so this is part 3 in our multiple part series on abnormal psych. And so the first time we were talking about what is normal, the second time we were talking really getting into the disorders, and we're talking about anxiety disorders. Today what we're going to talk about, still loving the animation, man, and I made the animation. Today what we're going to be talking about are two different types of disorders, somatoform disorders and dissociative disorders. And again, just as a kind of thing to get started, like, no, you probably don't have them, and definitely there's some of the rarer ones. So, like, when we were talking about anxiety, that's much more common. Now we're getting into some of the more rare and more complicated disorders. Alright, so let's talk about somatoform disorders first. So since we have the animation, we know we're writing it down. And so this group of disorders is a result of anxiety, but what you're going to have with this is physical symptoms where there's no apparent physical cause. Now, one of the things that we talk about is, psychology is, a science. And so as things go on and there's more research and more information known, things actually change. So this class of disorders used to be known as hysteria. And you'd see, like, in older movies, like, this woman, like, screaming or something, and the man would, like, slap her and be like, "Stop being so hysterical." So we don't do that anymore. Or we shouldn't. Don't slap someone and tell them that they're hysterical. They probably won't like it. So, the first one here is a conversion disorder. And so I have a video up on Schoology with this one, with just a really small clip from the Band of Brothers. And if you do not need to understand Band of Brothers to be able to understand the clip. But basically what's happening in there is you have somebody that, and here they are, they're in World War II, and just, man, there's bad stuff going on, and they never seem to have enough supplies, and they're just constantly going. And it's not like today. Like today, do a 6-month or a 1 year or even a 2-year tour. These guys are there for all 5 years, and it's just really tough. So this guy in the clip, his name is Blythe. He all of a sudden, like, he can't see. Now there's no physical reason for it. So, if they had checked him all out and whatever, there's no reason. There's nothing. There's, he hasn't, been, seen an explosion, or he hasn't, had any kind of brain injury or anything like that. He goes blind. And that's a conversion disorder, where, basically your mind says, I can't handle whatever's going on anymore, and it shuts down something so that you don't have to deal with it, which is really pretty crazy that our minds are capable of doing that. So make sure you check out that clip. And then we have hypochondria. Now that's one that you guys have probably heard of more. And yes, some of us, definitely get mildly hypochondriac. Nope, that's not it. But sometimes we might have mild hypochondria, where we're like, oh my gosh, I think I'm getting sick. Like, okay, like, yes, like that's okay. But when you have full hypochondria, you're in good health, but you're just constantly worrying about, you're watching something on TV where they're talking about, like, Ebola, and you're like, oh my god, I think I have that. Like, dude, that's not happening with us. Dissociative disorders. So now on this slide, and again, I'll know if you're actually paying attention, you just need to write the title. So people with these disorders suffer disturbances or changes in memory, consciousness, identity, and general awareness of themselves, all right, and their surroundings. And they're usually associated with overwhelming stress. Now, these disorders are even, they're also, just like a conversion disorder, very, very, very rare. And the other similarity with them is that it's something where your mind has said, I can't deal with this stress anymore. I need to shut down, can't handle it. So now we're writing this. So it's a disturbance in conscious experience, such as a loss of memory or identity. So also on Schoology, I have a clip for this. I actually had 2 clips. The other clip wouldn't download. I was sad. But basically, you've got 2 things. You've got... oh man, I didn't fix this. This is actually supposed to be spelled F-U. Sorry, I made myself laugh. F-U-G-U-E. I could fix it now, but that's like effort, man. So psychogenic amnesia, basically where you wake up and you're like, I don't know who I am. You still know the things that you kind of knew before to an extent, you know how to ride a bike and, you know how to write and read and whatever, but you don't know who you are. You don't know anything about your background, which is really pretty scary. Then psychogenic fugue, I'm so sorry, F-U-G-U-E, F-U-G-U-E. That's where not only do you wake up and not know who you are, but you've woken up in a totally different place. So the video that I have on Schoology for you guys actually talks about this girl that was actually from the West Coast, and they found her in New York City, and they're like, but they didn't know she was from the West Coast, and they just didn't know what was wrong with her or how she got there or anything, and she didn't know her own name, and it made it really difficult to try to find her. And that's why, the clip, they're going to the national media trying to figure out who she is. All right, and here's the big one, and the one that people just, it makes for great movies. It makes for great TV, It is not common at all. It's extremely, extremely rare, and it is very controversial. So swear to God, any tests or quizzes or anything is going to be describing this as dissociative identity disorder. It used to be known as multiple personality. So seriously, cross my heart, hope to die, we're not calling it this. We're calling it DID, or dissociative identity disorder. And it's when someone seems to have 2 or more very distinct identities. And again, like I said, it makes for great movies and whatever. Kids have said, oh, Miss Clemens, we need to watch Fight Club. No, you can't, in the end, oh, spoiler alert, you can't be like, oh, I'm gonna get rid of that other personality by shooting myself in the jaw or whatever. It doesn't work like that. The cool thing is that there is treatment for this. And so what I have for you guys again on Schoology is a whole series. Now, just to make it as confusing as possible, it's from the early 90s, and so as time has kind of changed, back then they did call it multiple personality. Now, of course, we call it dissociative identity, but it profiles 3 people and how they're going through their treatment and whatever. And so it's pretty neat to kind of see that. And so I'm definitely curious to hear what your thoughts are about the disorder. Again, rare. Alright guys, well, thanks for tuning in once again to Psychology Flipped. I think we're talking about mood disorders next time, which is pretty exciting. Alright, take care.